We're in Boston Common. Just got here, and I got two people. What's your name?
Summer?
Lily?
So people say it's a hoax. What do you think?
I think that it was something that actually did make people sick, and they really did die. But I think the root issue of it is what people are struggling with, and the way it was handled. So the way our government...
Are you in the medical field by that chance?
No, I'm not.
Because I had a person like completely going gung-ho on it, and I was like, wait, you look like you're scared of being fired. She's like, yeah, I'm in the medical field. So I like to ask that now.
Yeah, no, not in the medical field at all. Yeah. It's just I believe in medical freedom of choice. It was people's freedom to choose to get vaccinated with the coronavirus vaccine. It was people's choice not to. But I think people's issue was the way our government handled things. They took the liberty to take control of the people rather than actually following science. And some people say, oh, well, the science said to lock everybody down and we did so much better. But when we actually look at when things opened up after they were locked down, the issue is that people were still getting sick.
You mentioned that people needed to have the freedom of choice when it came to the vaccine. From my understanding, I'm not a medical care professional, but since I'm not qualified, I consider myself a professional to speak on it because I can be penalized, right? From my understanding, CDC said the two purpose of the vaccine was to stop the spread and stop you from contracting it, which no, I don't think any of those were achieved. I mean, people still caught it, and people still were able to spread it. So do you think the vaccine worked?
No, not at all. So the only people who actually got benefit of the vaccine was the ones who received the money. We look at the vaccine companies. So we look at Merck. There's a couple other companies, and I can't think of their names.
I made some money on Moderna.
Moderna, yes. You'll have to forgive me because my son's here on a medical trip. So, again, medical freedom. And my sister-in-law was actually a traveling coronavirus nurse. She literally was in New York, like the biggest, she literally went there, and she traveled in different places too after it calmed down in New York. But her perspective was, give me the vaccine. I'll get every single, what do they call it? Yes, and the thing is, she's caught in coronavirus several times, where me and our family, we are not vaccinated at all. And we've never gotten coronavirus.
So you practice your freedom of choice?
Yes, freedom of choice, freedom of liberty.
So do you think it worked, the vaccine?
I'm not,
you don't need to tell me if you are, but...
No, I'm fully vaccinated. I have
all 12 boosters?
I don't know if I have all 12, but I have a fair...
I don't even think there's 12. I'm just making that up.
This all happened when I was 15 and 16. I don't know all of the...
Wait, how old are you right now?
Right now I'm 18.
Okay, fine. Okay.
I was like, I'm 2 seconds away from being canceled. The thing is, you'll be on some... I encourage you to study and know what you believe and why you believe it. Not just what somebody says, what somebody has trained you to say. And I know you say, oh, well, I think for myself. But when you're in the public school setting, you are not trained to think. You are not trained to love learning. And that's just a common fact. And until you actually, and you don't have to agree with me on my perspective.
I would love to agree with you, but I can't share any of my perspectives. But that's actually true. If you go to a school, they kind of curate your reality for you. I mean, there's not a lot you can disagree with.
And so I just encourage you as a young woman to truly think for yourself. Whether that's you agree with vaccines, you disagree with vaccines, you agree with what the government did with coronavirus.
It's your body, your choice at the end of the day.
Well, I mean, when we're coming to vaccinations, when we start talking about babies in the womb, that's a totally different topic.
Okay, we'll touch on a different day.
Different.
Let's stick to vaccines for now. So do you think, well, I'm going to ask both of you. So do you think, like, what was in the vaccine? Do you think it's like cranberry juice or like orange juice? Like, what's in it?
God, I don't know. I definitely don't think it's cranberry juice. Or I think...
Give the girl a little more credit. I mean, that's kind of a backfiring question, but do you actually know what's in the vaccines?
I might have actually. I did so much research on COVID and the vaccines during school. We had to for our school. This is not something I am uneducated in. I had to be educated in.
I'm uneducated. That's why I'm out here asking. I don't know.
I am educated. It's just this also happened 3 years ago, and I haven't. It's not like I've reread the essays I have written. I felt safe getting them. I'm happy with my decision getting the vaccines. Honestly, honestly, it's like better safe than sorry. If they don't work, they don't work. I never got COVID. I'm fully vaccinated. I feel happy with my decision. It is freedom of, choice. Wouldn't judge someone for not, I guess, it's
No regrets.
yeah, it's fine. Like, everyone I knew got vaccinated. Where I lived, everyone got vaccinated. I felt safer with people who got vaccinated. It's my stepmom is a nurse and was a nurse during that time, so she was giving us all of that information. I was not being fed any information. I was finding it on my own.
So did you actually
Like on CNN.
read the vaccine inserts?
What do you mean?
Did you read the vaccine inserts? Did you actually read the vaccine inserts and know that you were actually part of a study?
Nope.
So then I would say you were not fully educated. And I'm not trying to diss you. This is not a diss at all. But until you actually read a vaccine insert for yourself, until you realize that you were actually part of a study.
So it wasn't FDA approved.
Not fully. And it was actually basically what we call rush approval. And that is actually without the information being backed up to prove that it was effective and safe. As you said, oh, I felt safe. But what about those families who thought they were safe and then they died? Because they died from the vaccine. Now, there are people who did die from coronavirus too. We can't avoid death. That's part of life. Anybody who thinks they can avoid death.
I don't think I'm gonna live past 30. I'm just gonna put that out there. I'm too dangerous with my life.
Well, I mean, maybe Lord willing, you'll live past 30.
I don't think so.
I'm 33 and I'm not vaccinated, and
You're smarter than me if you made it that far.
I'm doing pretty well. But it's just really, the thing is, you're 18. My niece is 17. And the thing is, as a young woman, and I encourage all young women to truly understand how to actually know, like, hey, I wasn't fed the information. So you're saying my stepmom was a nurse. She went through all this with us. But unless she presented you the insert, she presented that you were in a study, then you weren't given all the information and you didn't have all the facts.
What if I partook in a study that tattooed a bunch of stuff on my face, but I was well researched? Should I still get a bunch of face tattoos?
I think that's a personal choice. Honestly, yeah. I mean, it really is a personal choice. And that's the thing is, people weren't fully educated.
I agree with you, though. I
Yeah.
think people should, by all means, like, know what's happening to them and be fully educated on everything.
Yeah.
Not to say that you should regret your decision for getting it, or
No,
you should regret your decision for
exactly.
not getting
No,
it
I
too.
agree. I
Because the
agree.
argument can go both ways.
Yeah.
But I do think that the just sharing what I think, I think it's smart to know what's actually going on and stay up to date, and that's
Yeah.
why I do this.
No, I agree fully. And I think that every person, whether they're young, they're old, they're a child, they're an adult, they're about to die, that they should be educated fully. And again, you said, well, I was fully educated. I fully agree with what I did. And you may fully still agree.
I wasn't fully educated. I doubt most of the American population was fully educated. That's kind of.
I agree. I agree with you. That's the issue, though. That's the issue. Is
I was gonna say I doubt.
Exactly
I was gonna say I
issue.
doubt CNN is my point of truth.
Oh no, exactly.
I don't get my knowledge from media.
Neither do I. And that's the thing is, until people know how to study and what to actually study. So, you were educated and stuff, and I've been educated. So, there's 3 ways to appeal to a person. And the biggest thing that people fall upon is emotional appeal. Well, you don't want your grandmother to die. And I'm not saying that happened to you, but that's a form of emotional appeal. And that's what our government and the makers of these vaccines played upon, is an emotional appeal. And that's the thing is, until people are fully educated, and that qualifies for vaccines, our government, because we are a country based upon freedom. And I would say freedom of choice, but the issue is when we say freedom of choice, it is actually meaning people don't agree, well, freedom of choice in the womb. And see, I believe from the womb to the tomb of freedom of choice. Because that's a separate human being, and just like vaccines, they do carry aborted fetal cells.
I do.
I've heard of that one actually.
Yeah, and it is actually true. Now, some will say, oh, well, it's derived from this line and this line and that line. But the thing is, the root of it, it's still a baby that was taken away.
You think there's some mad conspiracy of like, that's why abortion is ramping up because they need more vaccines?
No, I think, I would say abortion has ramped up because people have believed the lie. They believed the lie that, well, here we are, you can't succeed with a baby or a child. You can't do that. Well, now we're telling women, we're telling men, we're telling families, if you have this baby, nobody's willing to help you. Nobody's willing to stand up for you. Nobody's willing to come around and surround you and to help you to raise this child. And I actually mentor women so that they don't feel like they're alone. Because that's the thing, is people feel like they're alone and nobody cares for them. And that's why they choose abortion. And because it's so millions of dollars is donated to promote this lie that you can't do it. But see, the thing is, you can do it. And if our government would actually rally around and say, look, we're going to take a supportive effort rather than telling you you can't raise this child, and produce productive adults and produce productive Americans that actually care for people rather than so self-absorbed, then, you know, that's the root issue right there.
What do you think the RNA is? I know it was in the vaccine itself, but what do you think it like is? Like, it's just we're just told it's an RNA. You're like, oh, okay. But
well, and so what RNA is basically it's taking your DNA and mixing it with a form of, forgive my brain, but basically it's like fake DNA. The idea, it's a strand that was created. But the reality is we were made not to have fake DNA put into us.
Could I use an RNA to grow like a third leg?
Hey, I don't know. We don't know what's gonna happen with it.
What do you think?
I'm a psych major, not a
biology.
Nope.
Okay. Do you think a 12-year-old child can get a tattoo?
I don't think so, and I'll explain why in a minute.
That, you'd have to give me so much context. Like
I'm a 12-year-old like guy or girl, right? And I want to get a tattoo. I just want to. Like, do you think I should be able to? Like right now, I think you need parental consent.
No.
No, you don't think so? Why is that?
You're 12. You're probably gonna hate. Like, if I would probably hate a tattoo I got now. I know 30-year-olds who hate their tattoos they got when they were 20. Like,
yeah.
So you might regret it later. Yes. So if you might regret it later, do you think it's fair for a kid to be put on, or 12-year-old to be put on a cycle to change their body type, like if they want to transition?
Oh, okay. So I figured that's where you were headed. But no, because here's the deal, is a brain, if you're a male, doesn't fully develop until you're 21, minimum. Typically the age is 26, 28. For a woman, it's roughly about 18 to 21. Okay. Now, my perspective is that there are mental health issues and there are roots of why these people don't feel comfortable in their own skin. Now, the way we address these roots is the issue. The other perspective is the left wants to address it as, well, we can solve this when they're a baby or a child, you know, and we can encourage them to be who they really are. And then they want to start transitioning them when they're young. And then we have adults who transitioned when they were maybe in high school, middle school, because that has happened now, where we see they're in their 30s, their 40s. Now, there's not a ton, but there is the information out there where they're like, what were my parents thinking? Why didn't they protect me? Why didn't they help encourage me to actually address this rather than just address this? Yeah, the physical. Because again, I'm all about the root and addressing the root issues.
If the LGBT community believes a person is born a certain way in the wrong body, why do they feel the need to change that body then? If like, let's say I would argue I was born a woman, even though I have male appendages. Why do they feel the need to change those if I was born female? Because that's what they believe, right? You're born female.
Well, I'm not going to assume what the left believes or LG, whatever that is. My sister-in-law.
LG HDTV.
My sister-in-law is a practicing is a practicing homosexual in Portland, Oregon, and I love my sister-in-law dearly. I think they're so concerned on this outside perspective that that's going to fix everything rather than the heart.
Yeah.
And really, I mean, I know you may cut this out, but the only thing that addresses the heart issue is Jesus, and He changes everything. And until people get right in here, they're going to be so worried about this.
Well, I'll tell you what, personally, I'll express my beliefs. I am Muslim, so I believe in Jesus. Maybe not as the way you do. Maybe you believe Him as a God. I believe Him as a prophet, but I still follow His teachings.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, And
is this too much for you? We're just going into Jesus now. You're like, what the hell is going on? This started from Corona all the way to
I could
Jesus.
talk about this subject for hours.
Like Jesus?
Yeah, well,
oh no.
Like the psychology part of it.
LGBTQ plus. If a 12-year-old says to their parents, hey, I do not feel comfortable in my own body to the point where it is leading me to want to end my life. If my child says that to me, I will do anything in my power to make them feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
No, but
fixing it.
let me ask you a question, and I think where you're coming from motherly perspective is fair. I will say that.
I know more people.
I mean, nobody wants to see their child kill themselves. I'll just put it that way.
That was just one of 1,000 different perspectives I could have chosen.
But do you think it's because sometimes a kid would want an iPhone the same way they want
an iPhone and a tattoo?
Mom, give me an iPhone, I want to kill myself.
Okay, an iPhone and a tattoo do not compare to gender identity, and those aren't fair to be used in comparison.
But how do you differentiate?
I agree with her on that.
I agree with her, but how do you differentiate what the kid really feels? Because sometimes they'll exhibit those same emotions.
Why wouldn't you believe them?
When I was 10 years old, I wanted a phone so bad I told my mom I'd kill myself if she don't give me one. But how does she bought me one eventually. But what I'm trying to say is, how do you know that the kid in that moment saying that won't later grow up and realize?
Change their mind?
Yeah.
God, how many people do you know who are transgender who regret their decision? Personally.
Girl, let's look up the numbers right now. I mean, I can show you interview after interview.
I know so many people personally.
And so do I.
Regret their decision?
I know at least two in person. In person that I personally know.
Then that's their thing. But there's
But so that's what you're. But that's
the majority.
no, not the majority, girl. Not the majority. No.
Then it's their decision. If they regret it, then they regret it, and they can try and go back. But all you have to do is just support them. You just support them and you love them. That's all you have to do.
That's the issue is you want to address the root by changing the outside. You think changing the outside changes this and this, rather than working on the inside, which will change the outside. Does that mean that this person who has an identity crisis, because that's what it is, it's an identity crisis, that they have the right mental state to just change everything? They're not actually happy either. You say, they're so happy now. But when we actually look at the transgender community, and I think I know what your rebuttal will be, but I won't assume, is that they are actually still depressed. It didn't actually solve this and this. And
there's actually a famous story, and I don't mean to put words in your mouth, just for what I know. I'll put the name of the lady here who transitioned to male because she thought male had it so much better. Actually ended up killing herself the next year because she was like, okay, they have it way worse than I thought. So that's just one story. I mean, it can't apply to a generality. That's just one.
Yeah.
But this is why I need that open dialogue. And she thinks that in that moment, as a mother, that's the best thing for her to do. Whereas you're maybe more future focused and you're thinking, okay, what if they later regret it? And I think we're really, personally, I think we're really new in this whole process. Like nowhere in history have that many people transition ever in such a mass amount. So we are yet to see. You're yet to see the repercussions of that.
Well, I think it's nothing new because, again, I'm a Bible-believing Christian. So in Bible-believing times, historical context, we knew that there were transgenders, there were homosexuals who practiced very openly. I mean, look at Rome. I mean, so many people don't even understand just the depravity that was happening during that time period. And that's the problem, is people aren't being actually educated to know their history, to know actual truth. And the truth is that this depravity has always been around. But we have lived in a culture, roughly, not actually, it's probably been about 40 years since we've lived in a culture that has been what I'm about to say, is that it was always kind of covered up. Like, it just wasn't very publicly acknowledged.
My brother is transgender. I'm bisexual.
Yeah.
Look.
Looking.
He was... We didn't even know if he was going to go to college.
Yeah.
The only thing that helped was accepting his transition and helping him through. He's never going to regret that. That's the only thing that helped. He's so happy now. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as supporting him and loving him.
Yeah.
Now,
It's just as simple as that.
For you, and it is very personal for you, as is.
Wait. Before you can just hold on to that thought for a second. So I'm gonna be the mediator a little bit and try to get to the conclusion. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't work. But you're more in the sense of it helps the people as an individual. You're more in the sense of maybe they need some sort. From what I'm getting at, maybe they need some sort of therapy.
Yeah, and I would be careful using the word therapy, because a lot of people go back to what happened in the 1950s and all this shock therapy in the mind and stuff like that.
Oh, hell no, that's torture.
Yeah, no, well, exactly. But and that's the thing that people that's what their perspective is when we say therapy.
Yeah, no.
But really, it's just addressing the root issue and helping them to understand that God doesn't make mistakes. And again, your perspective might be, well, we're not even, Christians, we've never read the Bible, and that's okay. But until you actually know who you are in Christ, you're always going to have a crisis identity, whether it's bisexuality.
Crisis identity.
Girl,
And
you're confused about who you're attracted to.
No, I'm
you're
not.
attracted to men and women.
I'm so
I mean,
happy.
I'm not attacking you. I'm just saying, you can't choose one or the other.
I don't want to choose. Why would I want to? I have a
And
great
see,
life.
that's lukewarm. God says we can't be lukewarm. We either got to be for him or against him. And that he wishes none to perish. Because the issue is that the most people of your generation, and I say your generation, 16, 17, 18, 20s, about 25 or less, they don't want a dialogue. And so I appreciate you being willing to dialogue.
And I know an exceeding amount about religion, probably more than most people your age think.
I respect that.
My age knows. I think middle-aged people do not think my generation is as educated as we are.
No, I think you are educated, but not in a perspective of actual truth. Lily, very nice to meet you. Bye, guys.
Bye. What do you disagree with about what she said about the people who are feeling trans, wanting to transition, needing therapy?
Religion has nothing to do with it.
Okay.
Nothing.
So you think religion does not tie into this?
No, God, no. Religion is something separate from everything else.
Yeah.
Separate. It has nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
I'm fine, happy in my beliefs. Everyone should be happy in their beliefs. They're so different, completely different. Jesus Christ. Literally and figuratively. Christianity is interesting. There's 8,000 different sects of it, so obviously he made some mistakes if they can't even agree on one thing.
Yeah. Well, Muslims, they're pretty firm.
Yeah, exactly. I just did.
Do you respect Muslims more than Christians? You're I'm scared to say that. I got folks at home waiting with the butter knife.
I definitely agree more with it. I definitely.
And would you consider yourself religious?
No.
Okay. But do you think there should be a more open dialogue between religious and non-religious people?
If they want to. I think she really wanted me to be
religious
or talk about it more, but I don't want to fight. I don't want to fight anyone. Don't worry about it. I don't want to fight anyone on their religious beliefs. I respect people who have religious beliefs, but she was coming for people because of their religious or non-religious beliefs, and I don't agree with that. People who are gay, being gay is not a choice. She was saying it was, it's not a choice. It's as simple as that. It's not a choice. It's not a practice. You can't practice being gay. What does that even mean?
Thank you so much, Lily. I appreciate your time.
Anytime. What is this for?
Well, it's called 1 minute podcast. It was supposed to be not more than like 2 minutes to like 10 minutes. I try to keep it there. I think it went like 30 minutes. So
You break it up.
yeah, I'm gonna chop it up. It's probably gonna come out like 15 shorts out of this one video.
Interesting.
So yeah, I'll give you it though.
Are you guys?